So this is part 2 on the section about ratios and unit ratios. So if you wanted to pause this long enough to write this stuff down that's written in blue or typed in blue, I would encourage it. Most of this you already know. So let's move on. So on example 6, it says write the ratio of 30 minutes to 2 hours as a fraction reduced to the lowest terms. So I'm going to go ahead and write the 30 minutes over 2 hours. And we can come up with 15 minutes per hour. We can also say, well, what if I took that 30 minutes and I said 2 hours, but in the place of the H, I know that there's 60 minutes, right? Well, the minutes reduce, leaving me with 30 over 2 times 60. And this will reduce. I got 1 times 30 over 2 times, and in parentheses, 2 times 30. 2 times 30 is 60, right? So my 30s reduce 1 time, leaves me with 1 over 2 times 2, which is 1/4. So be sure and read the directions carefully, because 1/4 is the ratio of 30 minutes to 2 hours. When we do the conversion. If we're just saying, hey, the fraction of 30 minutes to 2 hours, then the 15 minutes per hour would have been just the fraction. So just be sure and read the instructions as to what it's asking for. Now let's solve for B. B says we have 4 days to 3 weeks as a fraction. So let's do this again. We're going to take this ratio of 4 days to 3 weeks. However, in the place of weeks, I know it's 7 days. My days reduce 1 time, leaves me with 1 times 4 over 3 times 7 times 1. And 4 does not reduce. Well, 4 is made up of 2. And in the denominator, 3 and 7 is prime, so they do not reduce. So this is my final answer, 4/21. Now let's talk about the ratio of pounds to tons. So I got 750 pounds. And let me use the correct abbreviations right quick for pounds. All right. Over 1 ton. However, in the place of ton, I want to put 2,000 pounds. My pounds reduce, and now I'm left with 750 over 2,000. Now, I want to reduce this because they both end in zeros. I could start with 5, but I also see 50 there. So if I said 750 divided by 50, I know that it went into it 15 times. So it's a multiple of 50 times 15. And just to clarify how I figured that out, for every 100, there is 2 50s, right? And there's 7 here. So I know there's 14 plus that extra 50 left over. So it's 15. So on 2,000, now that is 200, right? Times, so hang on, let me say this correctly. It's 100 times 20. So I said 200, my apologies. There's 20 sets of 100. So that would be, right, if you doubled it, it'd be 4 because, remember, 40 because, let me say this right, because there's 2 50s in every 100, right? So that means there's 2. So if there's 20 of them, then that means it's 40. However, if you need to do long division, I encourage that. So this reduces, right? It leaves me with 15 40s. However, they end in a 5 and 0, so I can reduce it by 5. I know 15 is 5 times 3. I know 40 is 5 times 8. We reduce again, and now I'm left with 3/8. And that's my final answer. All right. So on this next one here, if you want to read the blue, and then let's move on. It says we have 150 kilometers. Whoops. Sorry, my pen there. Over 8 gallons. All right, let's talk about this one again. So we're doing rates now. And look, when we did the rates, we didn't put anything in the place of seconds or feet. You know, you notice we did above here, we was doing the ratios and we're putting them in fraction form. So we put in the place of the word ton, 2,000 pounds. However, now we're doing rates. And all we're doing is taking what's given to us and setting it up in ratio form, which is a fraction, right? All right. So on A, for example, 7, this is the format we're going to use, 150 kilokilometers per 8 gallons. And then we're going to reduce if we can. It's always good to reduce if possible. So I'm going to break 8 down. We know 8 is 2 times 4. So let's see. 2 goes into 150 75 times. So I'm going to say 2 times 75. Right? The 2's reduce. 75 is made up of 5, right? Not 2's. So we're going to say this is in the simplest form. And oh, don't forget it's kilometers per gallon. Now this one said the rate of dogs to cats. We end up, so I'm going to try 2 because they're both even. So 90 divided by 2 gives me 45. So I got 2 times 45 over, and let's try 94 divided by 2. I get 47. And the 2's reduce, and I'm left with 45, 47. So what it's saying is there's 45 dogs to every 47 cats. There we go. All right. So yay, we're moving on. And this application problem, we can take a look at it for a minute if you want. It's just saying during the baseball season, major league players' batting averages are published online. Suppose a player has a batting average of we should have a 0 in front of that decimal so you can recognize it, but it's 0.250. What does this mean? So I'm going to take this 0.250 and I'm going to set it up in fraction form so I can make a statement about it. I noticed that they give us out to 3 decimal places, meaning the thousandths. So I'm going to take the 250 and divide it by 1,000. Okay. I'm going to see if this will reduce. If it will reduce, then that'll be great. And I noticed they both end in 0. And I also noticed there's a 50. So again, here, I know that 50 times as a number will give me 250. So in 100, there's 2 sets of 50s. In 200, there's 4 sets plus that extra. So it's going to be 5 times that 50 to give me 250. So let's come here. So we know that in 1,000 that there is 10 sets of 100, right? So we would double that. So it'd be times 20, right? And if you're not sure, just divide it out, do your long division. All right. So now I'm going to say, oh, it reduces by, or the 50s reduce, and now we can rewrite it and reduce it again. It reduces by 5. So I get 5 times 1 over 5 times 4, and it reduces and leaves me with 1/4. So this is telling me that the batting average is 1/4 based upon the statistics, based upon the online batting average information it was giving. All right, so on this next one here, this is to make a unit rate. We're going to divide the numerator by the denominator so that the denominator is 1 unit. All right, so this one here says a bicycle rides at a steady speed over a level ground of 18 miles in 2.25 hours. Find her speed in miles per hour. So we're going to take, it says miles per hour. Per is telling me that's the division line. So I got 18 miles over, oh, and they said excuse me. The abbreviation is MI for miles. Over 2.25 hours. Now you could do long division. And when you do long division, remember you can't have a decimal in the denominator. So we're going to have to move it in this direction, however many places it takes. In this case, it's 1, 2. And remember what you do to one part, whatever we do to this denominator, we must do to the numerator. So it goes 1, 2. So this becomes 1,800 over 225, and it's miles per hour. So if you wanted to come over here and do this long division, 225 will go into 1,800. Let's see, 200 or 1,800 divided by 225 goes into it 8 times. So I knew I knew that if I was to take, let's just show what I knew. So I did 6 times that in my head. 6 times 5 is 30, carry the 3. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15, carry the 1. 2 times 12 is, or 6 times 12 is, oh my goodness, guys, I keep saying the answer. All right, 6 times 2 is 12, plus that 1 is 13. And then I said, oh, well, if I added 2 to 5 to that, I get 15. So if I take that 15 and add to 1575 and add 25 more, that would give me 1,800. So if you need to do long division or math on the side, I encourage it. So my answer is 8 miles per hour. Okay. So the gas tank on a specific truck has a capacity of 36 gallons on a full tank of gas. You are able to drive 450 miles. Find the gas mileage of the truck in miles per gallon. So it's take that 450 miles divided over 36 gallons. I noticed that 45 is a product of 9 times 5, and 36 is a product of 9 times 4. So I'm going to reduce it by 9. So I got 5/4 miles per gallon, which is also 5/4 mpg. All right. The next one says find the rate of the frog hopping across the road if the road is 15 feet wide and the frog hops 10 times to get across. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, we're going to find the distance. So we're going to take the 20 feet. And if I divide it by 10 times, I'm going to get, and we're going to multiply it, to be honest with you. Because what is it asking for? Assume the hop's the same distance. Oh, okay. Says to get across the road, it wants to know the rate. Okay, so the rate is set up like this. So it's going to be 2 feet each time it hops. Does that make sense? Because this is 10 hop. 10 times every hop, right? So for every 2 feet, it makes 10 hops. Or it makes a hop. Anyways, that's, you kind of get the point. All right. It says how you find yourself reading a particular existing novel in the afternoon in the library, has 300 pages. You spent, this book is 3.2 hours. What is your rate of reading? So if you can read 300 pages in 3.2 hours. Again, whenever you divide, you can have a fraction or a decimal in the denominator. So we're going to move it to the right one in this case. So it means you move, you go to the back of this one and you move it to the right one. So now I got 3,000 divided by 32. It's going to be the pages per that many hours. So you can do the long division. And when you do, we're going to get, and I'm going to do approximation, 93.75 pages per hour. All right, next we're going to do a comparing. All right, example 9 says you go to a local shop and Save's grocery store. Bottles of pancake syrup come in 3 different sizes. So we have this first one here, 36 fluid ounces for $5.29. I'm going to say, okay, we want to know the fluids per ounce. We want to know how much it costs us per fluid ounce, right? So we're doing a comparing. We're trying to see which one of these are my best option. So if I take that $5.29 and divide it by the 36 fluid ounce, I know that I need to get it out of dollar bills. So what I'm going to do is do me another conversion. And I know that for every $1, and let me write it over here right quick. We know for every $1, that is 100 pennies, right? It's 100 cents. So in the place of that dollar sign, I'm going to put 100 cents. And I'm going to multiply it by that $5.29. And it's going to be divided by $1 times that 36 fluid ounce. All right, now that I've done this, I noticed the dollar sign went away, right? Because I multiplied, I divided, I replaced it. So now I don't really need, let me show you. Since I replaced the dollar sign with the 100 pennies, I don't need it in the denominator because I was able to reduce it out. All right, now I got 100 times that 529 gives me 529 over 36 cents per fluid ounce. So we're going to take that 529, divide it by 36. And I'm going to round to the nearest cent. And they said nearest tenths of a cent. All right, so it's going to be 7.2. Hang on, my apologies, that is not correct. Maybe I should have done it on that paper there where you can see it and I can catch it. It is 14.7 cents per fluid ounce. So I'm going to say over here 14.7 cents per fluid ounce. All right. Now I'm going to, if you need to write this, pause it. I'm going to write this down or erase it. Let's do the next one. The next one says we have $4.69 for 24 fluid ounce. So in the place of the dollar sign, I'm going to put the 100 cents. I'm going to multiply it by 4.69 divided by 24 fluid ounce. Now I get 469 divided by 24. And of course, we're going to use approximation sign because we are rounding. And I get 19.5 cents per fluid ounce. All right. Now I'm going to erase for the next one. Okay, so the next one says we have $3.99 per 12 fluid ounce. I'm going to replace the dollar sign with 100 cents. 3.99 times it divided by 12 fluid ounce. So I end up with 399 divided by 12. It's going to be cents per fluid ounce. I'm going to use the approximation sign. So 399 divided by 12 gives me 33.3 approximately cents per fluid ounce. All right, my best option would be the 36 fluid ounces, right? Would you agree? Because I'm paying less for each fluid ounce, and I'm actually getting more too. Thank you.